Trey Burton of the Eagles, who I believe is changing his jersey number and getting himself ready for the 2017 season at Eagles OTAs, which are underway. And he joins me now on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Trey, welcome to the show. How are you?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
You got it, man. And we're real interested to get a guy like yours perspective on how important, I look at these OTAs as a guy for someone like you and someone like some of the younger players to get your name on the top of these coaches' mind when August comes around. Like, hey, this guy stood out to me in May, and now August is here. I want to see him with the pads on. So are the younger guys, is that something you guys really utilize with these OTAs?
Yeah, it's the guys who are undrafted, the guys who weren't looked at, as highly as the drafted guys are. They just got to take advantage of every opportunity they get. And so every chance you get on that field, every time you step across the white line, you just got to make the most of all the opportunities.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people sometimes just say, oh, these are the OTAs, they're not wearing any pads, but I think you guys can certainly show the coaches a bunch of things, like realizing I know the terminology, I got the techniques down, the footwork, I got speed. So there are a lot of things. I think these 10 days are really the kickoff of competition, right? The competition aspect is where I think this becomes very important.
Yeah, no doubt, and I definitely think what you said is key about the personnel and the way the language is and the lane book and the playbooks, and they're throwing so much stuff at you, in these 10 days. But if you think about it, these 10 days that they throw stuff at you are just as similar as the training camp, when that comes around, and just all the terminology and those types of things, and just want to see how well you can process stuff, how well you can remember things, and then obviously be able to play at a really high level and play fast on the field.
Trey Burton's with us, tight end, obviously. I'm intrigued by how this position will now evolve with Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith, Donnell Pumphrey, LeGarrette Blount. There's a lot more toys in this offense, which should be a very interesting season for guys like you, Zach Ertz, and Brent Celek.
Yeah, it's cool just to be able to be around guys and hang out with them and get to know them a little bit off the field. And obviously, like you're saying, these guys are really well-respected players on the field as well. So we're just trying to, get a little gel a little bit and just be around Carson and kind of, see what he likes and all that. It's really a good time, really a fun time because we're only here for half the day. And then the other half of the day, we just get to hang out, and hang around each other and kind of get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see, in your opinion, how you think the tight ends' roles will change with all these extra guys. I mean, last year, obviously, Ertz and yourself, you had your best 37 catches. Is really your first time getting a chance to be in the offense. And now that there's all these extra pieces, do you think the tight end's role will even expand more, or because of these guys that you guys won't get as many opportunities? I think that there's going to be so much attention on guys that you guys might get a lot of really fun coverage.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. And we really don't know. Obviously it's really early in the OTAs and stuff, but our whole mindset as a unit, is we want to lead this team overall. Not just on the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side of the ball as well. We just want to be the leaders of this team, and we'll leave everything else up to the coaches and schemes and all that type of stuff. And like I said earlier, we just try to put our best foot out there. We know and we're really confident in ourselves and our abilities. And, man, I'm so extremely thankful to be a part of a group like this, with Celek and Ertz. I'm just such great guys, such unbelievable football players. But, man, even off the field, I've learned so much from these guys, and I'm extremely thankful to be in the situation that I'm in.
Now, Trey, you've had an interesting story, obviously, at Florida. You started as quarterback, and then you moved all over the place. So you know what it's like to have a lot of talent. You've played all the positions there. So what is kind of like the evolution of your football career been like? It's got to be like very few guys in the NFL have. Quarterback, wideout, tight end, running back. You've done it all.
Yeah, it's been interesting, man. I was when I signed with Philly undrafted, they basically didn't really have a position for me. They just wanted me to come play. And that's really my mindset. I really don't care, what position they're putting me in or, where they want me to be. I just want to play. I know I only have, a certain X amount of years, to play this game. I obviously can't do it forever. Nobody can. But I just want to take advantage of the time and have fun, while I'm able. And I want to play, while I'm able to play. So I'm really enjoying it. I think it's kind of cool, not knowing, the defense not knowing or the opponents not knowing what I'm going to do or where I'm going to line up. And it's definitely been fun. You have to have a creative play caller, offensive coordinator, and that's something that we definitely have here, in Philly with guys like Sproles and like you said, Zach and Jordan Matthews, the guys who play on the inside. And just putting us in different spots, different positions, and it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I just want to play.
Trey Burton's with us, only early couple days, but they always say the biggest difference, and you could probably attest to this, is from year 1 to year 2. Carson Wentz is in his second year, and the reports have been very good about he was a leader last year, but it seems like almost a different guy coming in these early couple days this year already.
He definitely was a leader last year. I don't want to say like it was forced, just because of his position and then being the franchise guy. He did a good job of not making it seem forced, and I think this year he's just taking it to the next level. Everybody knows what he brings to the table. Everybody knows what to expect from him and how good of a player he is. So obviously we're extremely excited to be around him, and I just love watching him play.
Yeah, he's a guy who really, the whole thing that happened last year where you're like, hey, by the way, Carson, you're going to start 8 days in. I guess he grew up really fast, right? And that had to be something that even if, let's say, half the guys liked Sam, didn't want him to leave, and were not happy, that had to be pretty impressive to even the guys who were not fans of what went down. And I'm not suggesting that there was, just as an example to say, that was pretty impressive for a kid who did not play Division I football to jump in here and take over a team and go as if seamlessly.
Yeah, you say all of that, but then you got to add the part that he's in Philly. He's not back in North Dakota. Like, this isn't North Dakota's NFL football team. This is, the Philadelphia Eagles. So that adds a little weight to it as well, just with the media and all that. Obviously, he wasn't used to anything of the caliber that it is here, or the magnitude that it is here. So, but yeah, like you said, Sam was such a great teammate. Nothing but great things to say about him. And it was, kind of crazy. I remember, hearing the news on ESPN 8 days before the season started, and told that Sam was traded. And like I said, Sam's done nothing but great things, for me and my family. So I obviously can't say anything about him as well.
Yeah, no, you brought that up because that's a funny thing you do bring up. It's Philly. It's not North Dakota. You played at Florida, which is rabid, right? Those people love SEC. So what are the unique changes between that college diehard fan base and a professional diehard fan bases? Because there are unique differences between the college fan base and the professional fan base.
Yeah, I would say, Florida and Philly are really similar. I was extremely fortunate to be able to play at Florida with probably the best fans in college football. And just the following, really similar to here in Philly. Like, everywhere you go, it doesn't matter if you're on the West Coast, down in Dallas, Florida, regardless of where you're at, you're going to get some really good fans, and people are traveling really well. And it's really similar to Florida. They say the nation's everywhere, and that's extremely true. So I wouldn't say there were too many differences. Obviously smaller schools, there's huge differences, but I was extremely fortunate to be there at Florida.
You had a very good career at Florida. You broke Tebow's records for touchdowns in a game. There was a lot of people that thought that you were every bit as an athlete. He has proven to be a pretty good athlete in many angles, football, now in baseball. Was that somebody that when you got there that you looked to surpass in your Florida career?
Yeah, I don't know necessarily surpass. I don't really look at things like that, like, I want to beat him or I want to be better than him. I just know, everybody who was getting recruited at my time, which was after Tebow, was always looking up to him and, always looking at the character traits and the things that he brought from a leadership standpoint, and then obviously on the field, but my whole mindset is really similar to here. I just wanted to play. Urban came to me my freshman year in college during training camp and basically said, hey, I can't afford to have, an athlete like you sitting on the bench, and so this is what we're going to do with you. And it was a crazy situation because I was a second string quarterback, and there was only 2 quarterbacks on scholarship that whole year.
Right.
So it was just, interesting. I just, listened to Urban and just let him do, whatever he wanted to do, and it was a lot of fun.
You were undrafted, so you know what a lot of these kids are going through right now, and you've made it in the league, and this is going into your, 4th season now.
4th, yep.
So I know Doug's message to a lot of those guys was, hey, I played 14 years undrafted. Have you got a chance, there are these guys who are undrafted or lower draft picks that you have talked to say, guys, you have a shot to help us out. Like, is that something that you make sure you stress as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they brought Chris Maragos, who also was undrafted. I think he's going into year 8, and then myself in yesterday to talk to some of the rookies, about some things. And my biggest thing to anybody who's drafted in the low rounds or who is undrafted is that, man, you're not here to make only this team. Like, there's 31 other teams in the NFL out there. So if you're not making yourself better right now, as a football player, and don't look at the roster, don't look at who's here, who's there. That stuff doesn't matter. Like, if you're not making yourself better as a football player, then there's 0% chance that you're going to be able to play in this league anywhere. And that was my whole mindset. Like, man, there was 4 tight ends here in Philly when I signed here. I had no clue. I didn't even look at the roster before I signed here. But my whole mindset from day one was like, man, I need to be a better football player. I need to take all the things I'm being taught from my peers, my other teammates, and as well as my coaches, and just become if I'm a better football player when I'm done with this training camp, if I get cut or not, I know for sure that there's going to be a team, for me to be on. And that's really, still my mindset to this day. Like, I'm on a 1-year deal here in Philly. And, man, I'm just trying to get better, whatever it is, I want to work on, just trying to improve and be a better football player, and then the rest will take care of itself.
That's a great message there. Trey Burton's with us here, Eagles tight end, the Eagles OTAs beginning. Is it noticeable that there's more talent out there? I mean, Alshon, Torrey, we mentioned the names, Donnell, you brought in LeGarrette the other day. I mean, is it just looking around, it's like, whoa, we've upgraded here?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the names of these guys, Frank, Alshon, obviously everybody knows. Anybody in the NFL knows he's a good player. And the same with Torrey. You think that speed, really good wide receiver, has been doing it for a long time. So yeah, LeGarrette. I mean, he speaks for himself. He's physically a freak. He's unbelievable how big he is and what he's able to do. So yeah, for sure, there's definitely a lot more talent out here, in my opinion.
Well, with talent comes pressure, right?
Yeah. Hey, playing in Philly comes pressure.
Well, I'm glad you realize that the fans love the team, and we certainly love following it. And, guys like you, I think, are really great stories in the NFL. Like you said, you came in, no position, discernible position. Hey, you're going to play tight end. Okay. A guy who's played quarter, wide receiver, running back, tight end, special teams, talking to these undrafted guys. You're the kind of guys that this league needs more of, and we appreciate you taking some time out today, Trey.
No, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.